How are you? It's good to have you here today. I am a Kenyan biochemist and lifestyle medicine specialist. I am on a mission of helping 1 million people get freedom from diabetes. Thank you for being a partner in this journey. Thank you for working with me. And thanks for believing in this goal. If you like what you're doing, kindly encourage us. We are so new. We are so new. I'm doing this when we have 19 subscribers to the channel. Kindly like our videos, kindly share, kindly subscribe. Sharing is caring, and that is the best support that you can give us, and we shall appreciate you in this journey. Today's video is about women, fasting protocol for women. I'm doing this video because it was inspired by something that we were doing last month, and I got feedback today. So this company had invited me to go and give a talk about metabolic health in the organization. It is a company with a heavy burden of metabolic syndrome. The employees most of them are metabolic health derangements. If it is not diabetes, it is high blood pressure. Majority of them are visibly obese, but just looking at them, they had invited me to go and give a talk. So definitely there is no way we can discuss metabolic syndrome without discussing fasting. Then I started with a disclaimer, and I told the ladies in the room, when they are fasting, you fast like a woman. The fasting protocol for a woman is different from the fasting protocol for a man. And we had some good discussions with them, and now someone now followed up now to reach out. That's what inspired this video. And she wanted me now to take her through again those things that I was talking about. And she was like, it was not clear for us. And to the best of my understanding, I thought that I had done justice to that topic. But then I told her, because we couldn't talk a lot on phone, I told her I'm going to do a video and I'm going to share with her. And CCK, you know yourself, CCK. Yeah, you have inspired this video, and I hope that it is going to help many other women there. Okay? The way we live our lives as women cannot be the same way men live their lives. And unfortunately, much of the science and the scientific studies that are done with the male body at mind. It is most of the times it is men who participate in clinical trials. Most of the times it is men who participate in research studies. And so when scientists are coming up with formulations and with solutions for much of the problems that affect human beings really are those studies on women. You'll discover even when pharmaceutical companies are coming up with drug formulations and they list the side effects that were noted, most of the side effects that will be documented are those that were seen in men, because it is mostly men that participate in clinical trials and clinical research. And the way our bodies are created is different from those of men because of the hormonal profile. We are different in the hardware, meaning our anatomy is different in regards to reproductive organs. And we are also different in the software. Our hormones do not work the same as those for men. So when you're fasting, you have to consider your hormonal profile and the way your hormonal changes. And my sister, I would like you to be very careful in this, because it is not a black and white, okay? And you will notice in this video that I will not give you solutions that are black and white. And many people do not like it because they like to be told, do A, B, C, D on this particular day. We are used to prescriptions, but no. I'm teaching you the science, and I'll teach you how to go about things. And then you can tweak it to fit your profile, because we respond differently at different cycles, okay? So I'm not telling you fast during this phase, do not fast during this phase. No, that is not what I'm saying. I'm teaching you what happens at every stage so that you know which fasting is best for which time, okay? Now, you have got 3 phases in your cycle. A menstrual cycle will last 21 days for most people, but it can be as low as 25 days. It can be as high as 35 days. The first day of the cycle is the first day that you start bleeding. That is your first day. For the first 14 days, you will be in the first phase of your cycle. We call it the follicular phase. After follicular phase, you will have what we call a transition phase that is going to last for 24 to 48 hours, like 2 days. We call it the ovulatory phase. and then you are going to have a luteal phase that is almost always 14 days in almost all the women. So what happens in this follicular phase from the first day of your period? In some women it can be 14 days, sometimes it can be more. It can be 14 to 16, it can also be up to 18 days. In the follicular phase, starting from your day 1 of your period up to 14th day, assuming you have a 28-day cycle, is when follicles are gathering and they are starting to mature. Many follicles in their hundreds. And towards the end, we have one dominant follicle that develops. And this is what becomes an egg. The egg that will be released that month in the hope that it is going to be fertilized for there to be conception, because our bodies are wired for fertility. Okay? So many follicles start developing from the one of your cycle, that day when you start bleeding. But it is one that develops and it gets the mature egg. So what is happening in these first 14 days, we call it the follicular phase, is that estrogen is the predominant hormone. All the others are also playing a role, but it is estrogen that is being produced in high levels. During these first 14 days, your energy levels are quite high. Your energy is high. Your mood is high. You are in good vibes. You can do a lot. You are cheerful. You are optimistic. You feel good about life these 14 days. Then we have the ovulatory phase, where your sex drive is quite high. You feel so beautiful. You tend to stay longer in the mirror because nature wants you to attract the opposite, for there to be mating and for there to be conception. And your energy levels are on the peak. It is a climax. Then when you're moving from the follicular phase to the ovulatory phase, what happens is that follicle that was dominant bursts and it releases the egg, this mature egg. And the egg gets into the fallopian tube, waiting to be fertilized. Okay? And now what happens? This is what happens in the ovulatory phase. The egg bursts from the follicles, it gets into the fallopian tube. You get me? Waiting to be fertilized so that there can be a baby. Okay? And now this follicle that was left now becomes a gland. It was a follicle sheltering an egg. The egg has been released. The follicle does not die, if that is the right word to use. It becomes a gland and it starts producing the hormone progesterone. What hormone progesterone does is that it starts preparing the lining of the uterus. It starts thickening, because now we are preparing for pregnancy. What happens when there will be fertilization? The products of conception will come and attach themselves to the lining of the uterus. So it starts to thicken. The blood vessels starts to build blood vessels around it so that it thickens the mucus lining. So in your luteal phase, your progesterone levels are climbing. As the walls of the uterus are being thickened, as the body is preparing to incubate a baby, progesterone is a pregnancy hormone. It's rising. Then after about 10 days, the body discovers nothing happened. There is no attachment. There was no fertilization. So what happens? Corpus luteum, which was producing the progesterone, gets shredded. Okay? It shreds. You remember it was a gland. And your progesterone levels just dip. They just go down drastically after around 10 days. So now you're doing life for around 4 days or 5 days, for some people up to 7 days, it depends, with very low progesterone levels. And now the uterus, the body is planning now to shed that uterus lining that had been prepared in readiness for conception. And that's where things now go down. You have a low mood. You will have low energy. For some women, it becomes very serious and becomes premenstrual disorder. And I'm told they changed the name. It's now called PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Yes. So a woman in the follicular phase, you remember we discussed the follicular phase this side, where estrogen is quite high, the body is excited in developing a follicle. So many follicles want to mature. Then we have the one that is dominant that will compete against the others. That woman is different from the woman who is in the last stages of the luteal phase, when the body has said in what we call in Kiswahili kukubali matokeo, there was no conception, and so everything has to, the goal of preparing for pregnancy has to be aborted, if that is a word. Those are two different. And so when you're fasting, you need to align your fasting to your cycle. So we start with short-term fasting. For somebody who has never fasted before, this is the time you want to reverse your diabetes. This is the time you want to lose weight and you want to build the habit and get into the culture of fasting. You will start fasting during the follicular phase when your energy levels are very high. When you are upbeat, that is when you start fasting. You do not follow the calendar days and say, I'll start fasting on Monday. You do not follow the calendar and say, I'll start fasting on fast. No. Follow your menstrual calendar. Start fasting on the first day of your bleeding. First day, you may have issues. Maybe if you may have some discomfort here and there, but from the second day, but from the third day, your energy levels will start peaking and will continue peaking and rising until the 14th day. So during these 4 days, you decide if you are starting a new habit, and it's not just fasting. If you are in the journey of transforming your life, you are in the journey of acquiring new habits, you will teach yourself how to acquire these new habits at the follicular phase. If you're a student, we teach this to high school girls. And when we are teaching these classes to teenagers, we teach them about menstrual hygiene, and we also teach them about the software of their body, how the hormones are operating. We tell them during the first 14 days is when they will read like there is no tomorrow, is when they will invest a lot of energy. Okay? Because the body has that energy, and even at that time, the body can do with very little sleep if they have to forego sleep for whatever reasons. Okay? Then during the luteal phase, when the progesterone levels are peaking, that is the first 5, 6 to 7 days. It's also a very good time. You do not have crazy energy levels, but you're not badly off. Okay? You do not have negative vibes. It's still a good time, but it is not a very good time to start a new habit. The best time to start a new habit of fasting is during the follicular phase. 5 days to your period, do not bother yourself with fasting if it is not a habit that you had cultivated before. Because you talk with so many women when they are getting PMS, some tend to hate themselves, some tend to even see like there's nothing that works for me. Some tend to have negative self-talk, and a woman has to be deliberate to know which season she is in so that she can silence those voices. You know, what will happen if you try to fast a day and you discover you can't? You hate yourself more. So this is not the first time, the time to start fasting at that hour, okay? Then you will notice 5 days before your period, when your progesterone levels have really tanked, they've gone down, your body usually have a craving for carbohydrates. And it is not that it's a disorder. This is not what we call compulsive eating. No. Your body wants to compensate for the sharp decline in progesterone. Your body has already noticed that you've got a low mood. Your body has already noticed that things are not good for you. So your body will start craving carbohydrates. So I will do another video how I teach how to make your meal plan, especially if you are on a journey of reversing diabetes, to align with your menstrual cycle. So you do not have a meal plan aligned to the normal calendar that I eat this on Monday, that I eat this on Tuesday. No. For women, I advise that you eat according to a menstrual calendar. And you'll notice that in your luteal phase, towards the end of your luteal phase, your body will be craving carbohydrates to support your normal physiology. So you do not want to fast at that time when your body is asking for carbohydrate foods, okay? It's likely to be quite difficult for you, okay? So that is the first thing that you want to notice. That when you are starting a new habit of fasting, you are starting an alternate day fast where you fast today, you eat tomorrow, don't eat the other day like that. When you are starting that journey, start during your follicular phase. Even the first day of your period can be a very good day for fasting. Actually, many people say that they usually don't have appetite for food. So it's a very good day because your normal physiology is supporting that, okay? Up to the 14th, 15th, or 16th day before you get to ovulation. And if you don't know when you get to ovulation, especially if you have an irregular cycle, just give yourself the first 21 days, because it is the first 14 days of follicular phase and the first part of the luteal phase where there are usually not many problems. But 5 days, 6, 7 days to your period, do not start a new habit of fasting. Now, does that you cannot fast during luteal phase? You can, especially if you are seasoned in fasting. When you're doing prolonged fasting, a fast is going beyond 48 hours, 72-hour fast. If doing our 9 days fast that we always recommend, and we are always supervising people for this fast. So if you want us to do it with you, just send me a WhatsApp message, shoot me an email. Let's talk. Let's see how to do this. The best time to do is in the luteal phase. Okay? And I'll explain to you why. So you are not doing this when you are starting a new habit. You are doing this when you have been fasting for the last 2 months and it is working for you, or you've done it consistently for 6 weeks and your body is metabolically adjusted. What is metabolic flexibility and metabolic adjustment? It's when you're fasting, your body runs on ketones after the break because of the breakdown of fatty acids. If you're not used to fasting, your body is always on glucose. So your body does not know how to use fatty acids, does not know how to burn ketones. So initially, you are going to have headaches, you're going to have migraines, okay? But when you become metabolically adjusted and metabolically flexible, meaning you can switch from ketones to glucose without headaches, without migraines, now you can switch to prolonged fasting. And why do I encourage women to do prolonged fasting during the luteal phase? This stage is to overcome premenstrual syndrome, number 1. Because anytime when you fast more than 48 hours, your body produces BDNF. BDNF is a detergent that clears your brain, is a detergent that clears brain fog, is a detergent that clears bad moods, feelings of sadness, feeling of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and all these bad things that come with PMS. Or anything that comes with stress, anxiety, and mental health derangements, okay? BDNF is a detergent that cleans that, sweeps it clean. So when you fast during the luteal phase, you do your prolonged fasting of 72 hours during your luteal phase. You're giving yourself a very easy time. You know, your body, you may, if you are used to having some very nasty experiences 5 days, 3 days, or 2 days before your period, you'll notice like you're a different person. So when I want to do a prolonged fast, what I do is I check my calendar. I always keep a calendar on my menstrual cycle so that I know what is happening at what time. Because as I've told you, my meals are aligned with my menstrual cycle because of to meet the physiological needs of my body at any particular time. And then I plan that if I'm doing a 3 days fast, I plan that fast so that the first day of my period will be my last day of fasting. That is how I plan it. So if I'm doing a 5 days fast, I backdate and I ensure that the first day of my period will be the last day of that fasting. And God, it's usually so easy, so easy. Those signs of PMS usually go. That lack of energy usually just disappear, and I find myself like I'm operating like I'm in my follicular phase. Okay? So that is what I want you to do. It is possible to do it if you are metabolically adjusted. But if you're not metabolically adjusted, do not start fasting during your follicular phase. Okay? During your luteal phase, sorry, it's during your luteal phase. Now, the other reason why I want you to do a prolonged fast during your luteal phase is that the intensity of bleeding and the nature of your cycle will tell us what is happening to your body. As I've told you in another video, I just finished writing my book, and there's a chapter that I have dedicated on listening to your body. And that chapter, I'm asking, do you listen to your body when it communicates to you? And one of the ways that your body communicates to you as a woman is during your period. The intensity of that flow, the amount of the pain and the discomfort that you feel is directly related to the inflammation in your body. If you feel a lot of pain that stops you from doing your normal activities of daily living, it means you have very high degree of inflammation in your body. You need to clean house. You need to clean your diet. You need to stop eating some foods, This is not a video for that, but just to mention, you need to stop taking wheat and milk because they are inflammatory foods. They increase the level of inflammation in your body, which gives you a lot of pain during your period. And you also need to do other things that can lower inflammation in the body, and fasting is one of them. So when you do a prolonged fasting just before your period in the luteal phase, when the body is preparing to shed that lining, your body also tends to cooperate when it is shedding that lining. You find that you do not have excruciating pain that will stop you from doing your normal activities of life, and the flow will always be less if you fast just before the period. So what I said is that you can fast during your luteal phase, you can fast during your follicular phase. It depends on how well are you metabolically adjusted. How flexible is your metabolism? If you're metabolically flexible, meaning you have been fasting for some time and your body is well adjusted, do a prolonged fasting or anything that is long for you. In follicular phase, you could be doing OMAD, meaning you're eating 1 meal a day. That's still a type of a fast because you're not eating all the time. And then you do an alternate day fasting during the luteal phase. Fine. If this is what works for you, good. You could be doing an alternate day fasting during your follicular phase, and then during your luteal phase, you go 2 days. Fine. It's still better than doing something. You could be doing a 3 days fast during your follicular phase, and then during your luteal phase, you go 5 days. It can work. What I'm saying is, if you're new to fasting, start fasting during your follicular phase. Give yourself grace. Go easy during the luteal phase. Okay? I hope this video has made sense for you. I hope it adds value. We do have a user guide for millets. It's good that I mentioned at this time. If you want a user guide on how to use millets to reverse diabetes, kindly comment in the comment section, write diabetes reversal and millet guide. We do have a fasting protocol for age. If you want a fasting protocol that is the best to follow depending on whether you are in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, 50s or 60s or 70s, write in the comment section diabetes reversal and tell me fasting protocol for age and give me your email address. Okay, so thank you for watching to the end. Kindly consider liking, consider subscribing and sharing the information with your friend. And for now, I'll say goodbye.